Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are really getting into something significant. We're going to explore the deep structure, the architecture of recovery using the 12 steps.
That's right. And this isn't about, promoting one specific view. It's more like looking under the hood.
Exactly. Understanding the, let's say, the psychological engine, the neurobiology, even the philosophy that makes this whole thing work for so many people.
We've looked at the foundational texts, some neuroscience perspectives, and really considered the sheer emotional work involved. It's about dissecting how these steps aim to break that cycle of self-focus and addiction.
And build something new, something based on honesty, humility, connection.
Precisely. A new operating system, you might say.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning, where the problem really takes root,
Mm-hmm.
right? So addiction, we often just think about the substance, the alcohol, the drug, whatever the behavior is. But Gabor Mate offers a broader definition. He talks about any behavior, really, that gives you pleasure or relief, something you crave.
But crucially, comes with negative consequences.
Right. And you just can't stop doing it, even if you desperately want to.
Yeah, that inability to stop is key. And what's really insidious is how the addiction, the substance itself, becomes this inner voice, like a pitchman in your head.
A pitchman. How so?
Well, it doesn't just offer escape. It promises power. It convinces you, that you need it for courage, maybe.
Or a right, or socialize.
Or even to feel like you can love or be loved. It positions itself as essential.
While it's actually tearing everything down around you.
Exactly. The ultimate bait and switch. It's like you're trying to drink away the uncomfortable parts of being human, the self-consciousness, the loneliness, all those fears and insecurities.
Trading real growth for this, like fleeting chemical confidence.
Yeah, this illusion of control. But the price, it's enormous. You're seeking power in the bottle, but it's actually making you powerless.
And this ties into the brain science, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There's that striking phrase, pharmacological Calvinism.
Oof, yeah. That's a heavy one. It really gets at the neurobiology.
Can you unpack that a bit? How does that work in simple terms?
Okay, so think of it like a kind of biological bookkeeping. Pharmacological Calvinism suggests your brain enforces this moral economy of pleasure.
Okay.
The pleasure you get now, the high, the dopamine rush, which feels unearned, right? It's instant gratification. It must be paid back later.
With interest.
With significant interest. That payback is the crash, the low, the hangover, the anxiety, the self-loathing. It's a debt cycle. And the brain's learning system gets hijacked. It learns that only the substance provides relief from the pain often caused by the last dose.
So when the low hits, the brain screams for more.
Exactly. It demands another hit to escape the suffering. So addiction becomes deeply wired into the brain's fundamental learning mechanisms, but, pointed straight towards self-destruction.
Wow. Okay, so if it's this powerful self-feeding loop, biologically and psychologically,
Yeah.
how on earth do you break it? Where's the leverage point?
It usually requires hitting rock bottom, a complete psychological implosion. The texts call it the atom bomb of the program.
Which is step one.
Step 1, admitting complete powerlessness over the substance and that your life has become unmanageable. Really admitting it.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
And totally countercultural, right?
Yeah.
We're all about willpower, grit, pulling yourself up by your bootstrap.
Right. It seems paradoxical. How can admitting weakness lead to strength?
Yeah.
But that's the first major insight. The experience documented in the program shows that it's only when you reach that point of utter defeat, face that blank wall with no escape routes left, that real liberation, real strength can even begin. If you try to manage things without hitting that point of surrender, without truly accepting the devastation.
Sobriety is just temporary.
Yeah, it's precarious. Happiness feels impossible. The very self-will that fueled the addiction, that tried to control everything, that's what needs to break first.
So it's not just about stopping the behavior. It's the realization that your go-to solution, your trustiest tool, the bottle or whatever it is,
It doesn't work anymore. In fact, it's killing you.
the walls are closing in.
Exactly. The illusion shatters. That hope you placed in the substance is gone. And it's only when that entire internal structure collapses that you're forced, really forced, to look for something else, a new foundation outside of yourself.
Okay, so step one hits. That acceptance of powerlessness. It's a huge shift. And then immediately, the focus moves away from the self, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Towards something bigger.
Right. But here's where many people, especially, successful, driven people, hit a wall. That lifelong habit of using willpower for everything.
Trying to bulldoze through problem.
Absolutely. They try to bombard problems with it, like recovery is just another project to manage or conquer through sheer force of will.
And that doesn't work.
It's like trying to jam the wrong puzzle piece into place over and over. It just leads to exhaustion, frustration.
And relapse, probably.
Often, yes. The sources point out that the core error was mistaking control over external things, money, status, other people as the goal, instead of developing inner qualities like character, spiritual values.
So if self-will run wild is the problem, the solution has to come from outside the self. Which brings us to step 2.
Believing that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity.
And this is where the God word comes in, which can be a major stumbling block.
A huge one. But this is where the quiet genius of the program structure really shows up. It's radically non-dogmatic.
How so?
Well, for someone who's very practical, maybe allergic to metaphysics, they offer a simple functional definition, GOD, as good orderly direction.
Okay, that's practical.
The function of this higher power, whatever you conceive it to be, is simply to restore sanity, to help you move from using to not using. That's the practical effect.
But still, that God concept carries so much baggage for people. Religious institutions, dogma they've rejected. How does the program navigate that icy intellectual mountain, as they call it?
It's the freedom of choice. The sources talk about this moment where that icy mountain melts. It's when someone grasps the novel idea that they can choose their own conception of a higher power. So it doesn't have to be the traditional image.
Not at all. The only requirement is a willingness to believe in some power greater than yourself. It could be the collective wisdom of the group, nature, the universe, the principles themselves, anything that isn't just your own flawed thinking.
It sidesteps the whole intellectual argument.
Exactly. It bypasses that need to control everything, even the definition of the divine. You don't need agreement on doctrine. You just need to admit your own way failed.
Okay. So step 2 is belief. Step 3 is the decision. Turning your will and life over to that chosen power. But how does that surrender not just become giving up, like total apathy?
That's where the ongoing practice comes in, particularly acceptance and humility, which are really highlighted in step 7.
Acceptance, that sounds key.
It's another paradox. The texts say, when I accept myself just as I am, with all the flaws, the history, everything, then change becomes possible.
Not before.
Apparently not. That harsh self-criticism, that constant beating yourself up, it doesn't motivate. It actually keeps you stuck in the old patterns. But wait, step 7 is about humbly asking for shortcomings to be removed. That sounds like acknowledging flaws. How is that different from the paralyzing self-criticism?
Great question. It's a crucial distinction. The humility of step 7 isn't about humiliation or self-loathing. It's about finding your rightful place.
Rightful place.
Meaning accepting both your limitations. You're not God. You can't control everything. And your potential, your value, your greatness even. You have things to contribute.
So it's not, I'm terrible. It's more
like, okay, I'm not perfect. I have these defects, but I'm willing to see them and I'm willing to let something greater help me with them so I can contribute what I can contribute. It's self-acceptance with a willingness to grow.
That makes sense. And this whole idea is reinforced daily with tools like the Serenity Prayer, right?
Yeah.
Grant me the serenity.
To accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference, yes.
Yeah.
It's basically step 2 applied to everyday life.
Awesome.
It's consciously choosing to let that good, orderly direction, that higher power guide you, instead of desperately trying to control things you can't. And importantly, mistakes aren't just failures.
They're learning opportunities.
Right. They help you gain that wisdom to know the difference. If you waste all your energy fighting what you can't change,
You have no energy left for the internal changes you can make.
precisely, you stay stuck.
Okay, so we've got surrender, belief, acceptance. Now comes the really gritty work, the inventory steps. Step 4, the big moral inventory, and step 10, the ongoing one.
Yeah, this is where you move beyond just not using and start figuring out who you actually are underneath it all.
It's not just about listing bad deeds, is it?
Not at all. It's about self-discovery, peeling back layers of denial, rationalization, self-pity, all that mental fog that addiction creates, trying to find the real self.
And step 10 keeps that going. The theme is truth.
Continuous truth-telling. Keep peeling the onion, basically. Honor the truth even when it makes you squirm.
And part of that truth is understanding the emotions underneath, right? Like the example about anger.
Yes, that's a powerful insight. Anger is often, maybe usually, just a shield. It covers up deeper stuff, hurt, fear, vulnerability.
So trying to just stop being angry is useless.
Pretty much. It's like trying to fix a leaky roof by yelling at the water stains.
Well,
You have to find the source of the leak, the underlying pain, and address that. Then the anger often just dissolves.
wow. Okay, but this intense self-honesty can't just stay inside your head. Step 5 demands you share it.
Confession. Sharing the exact nature of your wrongs with God, yourself, and another human being.
They call it an ancient discipline and essential for staying sober.
The literature is blunt. Without this fearless admission, very few seem to stay sober long term.
Why is it so critical? It sounds terrifying.
It is terrifying. Fear of judgment, exposure, losing control of your secrets. But the payoff is described as immense. The end of isolation. That horrible feeling that you're uniquely broken and alone. It starts to lift. You begin to feel genuine kinship, connection, and with that comes real peace, tranquility.
That makes sense. Secrets kept in the dark have so much power. Bringing them into the light, sharing them, it breaks their hold.
And it connects you to the shared human experience. You realize you're not so different after all. And this has a ripple effect on relationships.
Oh, so?
Well, when you start being honest with yourself and stop judging yourself so harshly through the inventory process, you naturally start judging others less harshly too.
Ah, more compassion.
Yeah. It opens the door to having real, honest, loving relationships, maybe for the first time ever.
But healthy relationships need skills, boundaries specifically, which brings up detachment. That word sounds kind of cold in a program about connection.
It does, but it's vital, especially if you're dealing with people who are still struggling or family members affected by your past. Detachment isn't about not caring.
What is it then?
It's about seeing reality clearly. Seeing reality as it is, not as your dreams would like it to be, as one source puts it. Letting go of trying to control other people's choices or outcomes.
Okay, so it's not indifference.
No, it's differentiating between caring about someone and taking responsibility for them, or letting their choices dictate your emotional state. It requires setting clear personal boundaries.
Like defining where you end and the other person begins.
Exactly. Disentangling yourself. Like the example of the chronically late friend. Detachment means accepting they're late and deciding how you will respond. Maybe you start the movie without them instead of getting consumed by anxiety trying to make them be on time.
So you reclaim your own peace of mind.
You reclaim yourself. You stop losing yourself in others' problems or trying to fix things you can't fix. It replaces that codependency or self-pity with, well, self-respect.
Which ties into that phrase, a whole new feeling to like the person called me.
That's the goal, isn't it? Moving from self-pity to genuine self-esteem, when you do the hard work of inventory and amends, you build this internal sense of worth.
And that makes you more able to actually connect healthily.
Right. You can show up honestly, function, contribute, without all the defensive baggage of the past.
Okay, so the steps are the individual path. But it doesn't happen in a vacuum. There's the fellowship, the community, and that's governed by the traditions.
Exactly. It's crucial to distinguish. The program is the steps individual change. The fellowship relies on the tradition's principles for group survival and harmony.
They apply the spirit of the steps to the group itself.
Precisely, to ensure the whole thing doesn't implode and can actually keep functioning to help people.
And the need for these became clear pretty quickly, historically speaking.
Oh, absolutely. You had this tiny, struggling group, maybe 100 people in the late 30s. Then suddenly, boom, public attention, like that huge Saturday Evening Post article in 41.
And it exploded.
Exploded. By the mid-50s, you're talking thousands of groups, hundreds of thousands of members worldwide. And with that growth came chaos.
People fighting over stuff.
Money, leadership, property, who gets to make rules. Noisy anarchy, they called it. The traditions literally arose from near disasters to stop the fellowship from tearing itself apart.
Wow. Okay, so part of that structure is this idea of service, the third legacy. To an outsider, service might just sound like chores, right? Making coffee, setting up chairs.
Yeah, it can sound like that, but it's presented as absolutely vital, not just for the group to function, but for the individual's recovery.
Why? How does making coffee keep you sober?
It's about shifting the focus. Service, whether it's that cup of coffee or serving on a committee or working at the general service office, it pulls you out of yourself.
Out of that self-centeredness that defines addiction.
Exactly. It forces you to consider the needs of the group, to contribute something positive, to practice humility in action. It's replacing self-absorption with purpose.
This seems linked directly to step 12, carrying the message. It's not just altruism, is it? It's also about keeping yourself on track.
Very much so. You can't keep it unless you give it away, is the common saying. And the hardest part is practicing these principles in all our affairs.
Meaning, like, at home.
Especially at home. Showing the same patience and tolerance to your family that you might easily show to a newcomer at a meeting, that takes constant effort.
Like rowing a canoe upstream.
That's the analogy. If you stop rowing, stop working on your spiritual condition, stop helping others, the current of self-centeredness just pulls you right back towards the waterfall. Service keeps you rowing.
Let's talk about some specific traditions. Anonymity.
Yeah.
Tradition 12. We think of it as protecting identity, but its origins were different.
Initially, yeah, it was born of fear of public stigma, judgment. These were secret societies at first.
But it became something more.
It evolved into what they call the greatest safeguard. Anonymity at the public level, press, radio, films, becomes a symbol of profound humility. It ensures that principles come before personalities. It prevents individuals from seeking fame or power through the fellowship. Leaders are trusted servants, not governors. Their authority comes from the group, not personal ambition.
That's a powerful check on ego. What about tradition 4? Autonomy. Letting each group basically run itself? That sounds like a recipe for disaster in a huge organization.
It does seem counterintuitive, especially with a membership known for, let's say, strong personalities. Allowing groups total freedom unless they threaten AA as a whole, it looked risky.
But it worked.
It proved to be a massive strength. It allowed for flexibility, for trial and error. Different groups could adapt to local needs and cultures without waiting for permission from some central authority.
They trust the process.
It trusts the group conscience, guided by that higher power to find the right way. It keeps the power decentralized and reinforces that ultimate authority isn't human.
So as we wrap this up, it's clear this isn't a quick fix. Recovery isn't a destination you just arrive at. It's ongoing. What's the long view?
The phrase they use is key. Spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. The goal isn't to become flawless. It's to keep moving forward.
And the benefits are progressive, too.
Yes. It leads to what they call the joy of useful, sober living. And there are tangible mental benefits, too. The mind needs time to heal after active addiction.
Like a convalescence.
Exactly. The literature notes that after about 3 months sober, thinking gets clearer. And by the second year, the change in mental clarity and emotional balance is often striking. The brain actually recovers.
Okay, so you get sober, you do the steps, you get involved in service.
Yeah.
How do you keep that momentum going? How do you prevent just stagnating or drifting back?
That's where step 11 comes in. Prayer and meditation. Seeking conscious contact.
Why is that one so crucial for continued growth?
Because the other steps, arguably, get you sober and help you function in the world. They clean up the past and give you tools for the present, but step 11 is what fuels ongoing growth. It keeps that connection to the higher power active.
People often neglect this one, don't they? Compared to service, step 12.
Very common. Service feels active, visible. Step 11 is quiet, internal work. But the suggestion is that if you're feeling stuck, resentful, fearful, restless, the issue often lies in neglecting step 11.
Even just a little bit makes a difference.
The suggestion is even dedicating just 5% of the time you might spend on step 12 activities to step 11 can be transformative. Renewing that simple request, thy will, not mine, be done, especially when you're upset.
It's like clearing the channel.
Exactly. Getting your own ego and fears out of the way so guidance can come through.
This whole system, it's incredibly intricate when you break it down. Humility, honesty, acceptance, service, connection. It's a full design for living.
It really is. Not a checklist, but a continuous practice. And maybe the core of it is recognizing your own fallibility, your own tendency to drift back to self.
Which requires constant vigilance.
The active self-honesty, yeah.
Yeah.
And that idea of living in day-tight compartments.
Focusing just on today. Not getting lost in yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's fears.
Right.
Which leads us to a final thought for you, the listener, to take away from all this.
Okay.
If the goal is to live truly awake and aware, as the program suggests, what does that commitment demand you confront today? What specific, maybe uncomfortable truth are you tempted to push off until tomorrow? What needs your honest attention right now?